Hello everyone! Early on during the Warrior of Light story, we get to meet Edda, and onwards through cinematics, dungeons, and finally the Palace of the Dead, we see the completion of a rather tragic tale. She is quite special to me because Edda was the first indication that the Final Fantasy team likes to pay a lot of attention to the story, and even background characters might turn out important. In this video, we will begin exploring the story of Edda, from her unassuming childhood till her tragic death. And in the next video, even beyond. If you want to make sure you get notified of each video, then make sure to subscribe and press the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Edda is a higher Midlander who was born to a poor village in the Appalachia Spine. We know very little about her early life, except it was difficult because of her poverty. She spent the time handling chores, but also made some close friends, the most notable and important to her being Avery. The pair fell in love and eventually got engaged, but they did not wish to live out their lives in poverty on the Spine. Avery had ambition to gain glory and fame. They joined up with two others, forming a small group of adventurers that traveled the Eorzea seeking their goal. It is not explicitly stated, but it is very likely that Edda's and Avery's journey start about the same as our own. A time where Edda Pureheart is only 16 years old, and we can assume that Avery Bravearm, a lover, is around the same age. The pair has a rather rocky relationship, as Avery can be quite cruel to Edda. The Encyclopedia of Eorzea says that Avery is focused on trying to become the man he feels Edda deserves and would admire. But the Avery we get to see in-game is simply cruel and almost uncaring towards Edda. At the same time, Edda seems to truly love Avery, but the two are very young and quite ill-suited for the life of adventurers. Their journey takes them to Lanoska, where we meet them for the first time outside Sastasia. This is their first attempt at a dungeon, and Edda, who holds the role as a healer, has just returned from town, having gone to buy some poison. Something that did not go as well as he planned. He only managed to obtain 2 poisons for the coin Avery gave her. We do meet the other 2 members of the adventuring party here, Liavine and Peyoreo. Liavine seems to take some joy in mocking Edda for her slowness, while Peyo is more focused on how straightforward the job is, and how this work is perfect for the first adventure guild job. Avery scolds Edda for not getting their supplies in order, implying that she is not really a good healer and only the poisons would actually make her even bearable. And he is just really cruel towards her. This first adventure goes well for the group, so well that they also head to the tam-tara Deepcroft, just like the Warrior of Light, for another mission. Sadly, this is where things go wrong. We only see the aftermath back at the Adventuring Guild, where Liavine and Peyo scold Edda for her failure as a healer, how she was too slow to heal Avery. While Edda tries to explain, he just ran out of range before she could finish her life-saving spell. And with Avery dead, the adventuring party falls apart. Liavine and Peyo leave Edda, and Liavine tells her to get rid of Avery's head, which she apparently has with her from the Deepcroft. It is a bit later in Ul'dah that the Warrior of Light meets Edda again, as Edda tells them Avery saw the true adventurer the warrior would become, that he wanted to be just like them, and Edda has decided she will not give up. She will now go back to her village, supposedly with Avery's head, where she will start her training anew. She will become the adventurer Avery wanted to be. And that is the last we hear of Edda for a long while. But Edda's story does not end there. We can in fact follow her tale through a series of journals that can later be found in the hard mode of tam-tara Deepcroft. The first note starts shortly after our meeting with her, where she says, "I finally mustered the courage to speak with your hero, my love. They are as kind and wise as they are brave and strong. They listened attentively as I told them all about you, about us. Though they are a person of few words, or perhaps because they are, everything they said seemed to inspire me. Why their gaze alone instilled me with a confidence I never knew I had. Truly, I feel better prepared to face the future for having met them. How right you were, my love." Edda then returns to her village, where she plans to bury Avery's head. But at some point, she seems to go a little bit mad, finding it impossible to be parted with the head of her beloved. And this is where her second note takes place, about a week after returning home. Scarcely a week has passed since we returned to the village, and already I cannot help thinking it was a mistake. There was a time when this place seemed just large enough, but having seen the wider world, it all feels so insufferably confined that I often find myself struggling for breath. I know that it is the same for you, my love. The only time I feel truly alive is when I am adventuring with you. We are as caged birds in this backwater. So long as we remain here, we will never spread our wings and soar. So let us take to the road and create a lifetime of wonderful memories together. Now, it is clear Edda has completely changed her mind on burying Avery, and instead she heads out on an adventure with him, their first stop being in Mordona. I could not have hoped for a more romantic first visit to Mordona. The crystals that pierced the landscape glowed in all their majesty, as if to celebrate our future together. And as we lay by the silver tear lake, watching the waves lapping at the shore, the sun took its leave behind the horizon, that we might enjoy a moment of intimacy. I want us to be together forever. You said these words to me years ago, and you said them to me again tonight. I am so happy to be with you. I, for one, do not want to know what this moment of intimacy entailed, but by this point he has been travelling with the head for a while, taking it all the way from the tam-tara deepcroft to where she meets the warrior of light in Ul'dah, then up to the Appalachia spine, and now she's in Mordona. I hope for Edda's sake she knows some way to halt decomposition, though our next entry does not give me much hope for it. You have been looking deathly pale of late. The scorching heat of Thanalan does not agree with you. You were never fond of hot climates, and it was a mistake to come here. Let us make to Coerthas, where the bracing air will put roses on your cheeks. So, bringing her dead, now very likely rotting head, to the desert turned out to be a bad idea. Edda seems, by this point, to not truly realize what is happening anymore, seeming to believe that bringing Avery to the cold plains of Coerthas will give him some color back to his cheek, a physically impossible task for somebody lacking their entire circulatory system. But if you think things are bad now, they are only about to get worse. I know, it's not easy being without a body. I promise to find one for you, but you must be patient. You are my husband-to-be, and there is nothing I would not do for you. So please have faith in me. Give me time, my love, and I shall make you whole again, as you made me. Edda has come up with a plan and begins a journey back to the tam-tara deepcroft, as we read our next entry. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, my love, but we cannot afford to compromise, not where your new body is concerned. Ordinary adventurers die often enough, leaving their ordinary corpses. But if you are to be like the warrior of light, we cannot settle for anything less than extraordinary. But a strong body requires an equally strong soul, as I recently discovered. Now you're probably worried that strong souls are rare, and so they are. But never fear, for we can create one ourselves. All we need is a plentiful supply of the weaker kind, and they are common indeed. Be patient just a little longer, my love, and all will be as you desire. Taking her place within the deepcroft, she has access to plenty of test subjects to experiment with. Deciding that the weak souls are not good enough, she needs more bodies, more souls, and the deepcrofts are a perfect place for such an experiment. And that leads us to her final entry. With an endless supplies of bodies here, I will make you well again, my love. Then we shall be wed as man and wife, and forever be joined as the gods intended. Of course, it's only fitting that a proper ceremony is held, with guests in attendance. I will send out invitations to all our friends. They will be so happy for us. I have no doubt they will jump at the chance to part with their souls. We don't know for sure how long of a time has passed during Edda's travel, but we do know the Warrior of Light does not get any information about Edda till after the credits of Her Realm Reborn. During the main story, we do meet Liavin again, who has joined up with the Scions and dies during the attack on the Waking Sands. It is after the credits that we return to Ul'dah and can pick up Edda's story again by finding Peyo. He does remember the Warrior of Light, noting how the paths once crossed near Sastastia. That is hard to believe, once he and the Warrior of Light moved in the same circles. But it had all changed after Avery's death. At the time, they had blamed Edda, which has been rather unfair. But Peyo never planned to meet with his former comrades again, until he suddenly received an invitation to Edda's wedding. And the groom is Avery. Peyo tells the warrior that it seems Leavine already agreed to attend the wedding. That apparently Edda and Leavine had a chance encounter recently. Peyo meant to talk to Leavine, but was unsure where he would find her, only knowing that she joined the Science. But now the Warrior of Light is here, so they should be able to help him meet up with her. Sadly, the warrior is forced to tell Peyo about the tragic fate of Leavine, which happened quite some time ago, making it impossible that she has met up with Edda recently. The two therefore decide to head to Leavine's grave so Peyo can at least pay his respect to his former comrade. The two travel to the Lich Yard, only to find a horrible sight. The grave has been defiled and the body taken. The conclusion is that Edda must have done it, that he must have gone mad, so Peyo decides he will go and fix things once and for all. He will attend this wedding and try to talk some sense into Edda, and the Warrior of Light, of course, agrees to help. Returning to the tam-tara Deepcroft, the warrior must fight through horrid abominations which are leftovers of Edda's twisted experiments. In there they find the notes detailing her journey, along with a variety of written words on the walls, seemingly written in blood. I did my best to translate these words. Edda doesn't have the tidiest handwriting, especially when writing with blood. The words seem to be, it came, reply, whisper, whisper again, loss, burst, burst again, and where is it? The warrior manages to protect Peyo and kill the reanimated corpse of Leavine. Till finally they find Edda. Edda has set up a ritual in the central chamber, circled with red candles and Avery's name written multiple times in different sizes all over the floor. He performs the ritual, summoning in a twisted version of Avery, offering the warrior and fellow adventurers souls as gift to him. This disembodied twisted head is horrid, and Edda seems utterly lost with madness. The fight is fierce, but in the end Avery's head is defeated, and poor Edda, horrified by losing her lover yet again, stumbles backwards through the candles, the rope catching on fire as he slips over the edge, falling to her death, her final moment of falling seeming to be a moment of peace. And that's where her life ends. The 16-year-old girl who became an adventurer to be with her lover, who lost him and went mad with grief, doing everything she could to bring him back. Her short life ended in tam-tara Deepcroft. But that's not where her story ends. Edda's tragic tale continues on in the next part as we explore her fate after death and the story of the Palace of the Dead. If you want to make sure to see that one, remember to subscribe and press the notification bell. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.